This video is intended for adults and children upwards the age of 14. Viewer discretion is advised.
Yo, what's good, people? Welcome back to the Nerd Crate. I'm not alone. You may not see him, but Sentinel Bay Reviews is waiting in the back. And today, we're going to chit-chat a little bit about the finale and in full, the season 1 of Star Trek Picard. Well,
What's up?
hi there.
Hi
Good
there.
evening, good sir.
Good evening, good sir. Good sir's trying to get his cat. Come on, bastard.
The not too good cat out from the good table.
No, not really.
Always the same procedure.
Problem is if I let her out now. There she is. Hello.
Aww. Scrubby cat.
If I let her out now, she will sit in front of my bedroom's door where my wife is trying to sleep and just do the same shit that she's doing in here, like meow 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 all the time.
I mean, it's still the attention thingy because Murphy's still gone, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
And she's getting old.
Yeah. She looks rather old, and a little bit. I don't know, a little bit pissed off by life. Currently, we all a little bit with a lager collar that is presently looming, I would say.
Yep.
We already got 3 guys in the chat. That's a little bit more successful than last time. Caleb, Prime, and Bumblebee. What's up, guys? Pretty cool. How happy that you're here. So yeah, today's program is again a little more often currently, but brought to you by Tim Case, Nerd Crate, and Sentinel Bay Reviews. A little special from a little hangout show where I usually try and connect different people, different fandoms, etc. PP, and today we're gonna chit chat about, like I said, the finale and the full season 1 of Star Trek Picard. And I watched it rather late today. Usually I just wanted to pop the German word. I'm confused. Usually I watch this Friday rather around noon, like it's already done and it's the weekend. This time it was rather late and I was stressed out, and now I'm happy that we're here. So yeah,
I actually finished the episode like 10 minutes ago.
I thought so.
Yeah.
I quite well thought so.
Started to watch the first half where I was walking my dog, just so
damn.
that I would be ready in time, because I was sitting there on my couch and was like, yeah, later we can hang out with Picard and everything, and I was like, maybe I should watch the episode.
Maybe I can just read a quick spoiler review. That might suffice. No.
By the way, to everyone's watching, disclaimer. This will be a spoiler-heavy show.
Very spoiler heavy. Very. I didn't say anything because I thought this is pretty much clear. But the good couture gives it away, of course, as spoiler heavy. So if you don't, and you saved yourself the first season in full, kindly drop out. No worries. So yeah. Good call. Very good call. I never actually watched something like on my way, walking anywhere.
It was strange.
I suppose so. I guess that's super weird.
It is, and it's definitely not recommend if you have a young dog not to watch your dog, but watch a TV show.
Watch your dog while watching the TV show, or confuse it. Watch your dog while watching the TV show. The other way around, like also in tone and everything.
Yeah,
maybe
it was weird.
I guess so. But yeah, to get this thing off the ground, just for the last episode, I liked it. There were a few weird moments, like for me. I want to get this super heavy, super negative shit out of the way. The culmination of the negative that was in Star Trek Picard. I hope there wouldn't be too many things, but I had a big problem. Like maybe that they try to modernize the character and also the face of Star Trek a little bit too much in this. Just this fact that in every episode, like hundreds of times, at least I felt so, that Ruffy character always had to call him JL. Just not one time in one of the episodes did she ever call him. At least I can recall that she calls him just Jean-Luc. Normally, just his name.
Maybe maybe once or twice, but not too often.
And it's just too much.
And when she did, it was in a sarcastic way, like when she called him JL 2 times and then went by Admiral Jean-Luc Picard, retired, or some stuff like that. It's weird, and it's a little bit ridiculous. I mean, they tried super hard to make the show look cool and sound cool, and it definitely did too much with her, because I think if they would have just used it like a sprinkle here and there, let's say whenever they have like a very close moment as friends, and she doesn't go by his regular name but just calls him JL, I would be perfectly fine with this. But it's like in absolutely casual situations or even stressed out situations where she's just going by JL, damn it. It's like no.
Especially since pretty much phonetically JL is not even the most fluid or fast.
Like no, it's not an abbreviation of Jean-Luc. It's still too it's no, it just doesn't work.
It sounds like Superman's distant cousin.
Yeah, it's like calling data DT just to make it short. Doesn't
Although
work.
with data, that was a very nice callback. I think they made a good call. They made a good call with him, like that he indeed still existed out of that what was it, a neuron or a particle of the neuron where Maddox extracted his full consciousness.
Yep,
that was That was pretty cool. He fully existed, and he was aware that he copied his full consciousness, his memories into B4. The only thing I had a little bit of gripes with were again the combination or how the extended universe worked in unison with the actual TV/movie stuff. Like in the extended universe, B4 actually became Picard. Data. His positronic network was able to adapt, like in the comics somewhere, I believe it was around the new first Star Trek movie. It was able to adapt to the memories and to the consciousness of Data, and he fully developed into Data, essentially resurrecting him. That was pretty cool. It became a captain and everything, and this is now deleted. This is, again, there are multiple continuities, pretty much the same as with, what was it else? The Star Wars extended universe, of course. So much else.
All the stuff in these franchises that exists in the books and the comics, and maybe people going on a narrative rampage out of they are doomed to have some contradictions and everything. So I usually don't read too much of all the extended universe stuff. I'm basically sticking to the main canon. And in that matter, I was completely fine. I think the whole data sequences they had in this particular episode were classic Star Trek, like very very dialogue heavy stuff and very intimate stuff, and also a very very modern political and social comment.
Yeah, I
mean,
so too.
He basically helped Data to die.
Yeah,
and Data asked him to help him to die, and this is like, it doesn't get much modern than this.
Yeah, so especially with the threat of the coronavirus actually looming over all the old people in the care homes. I just read an article in, where was it? I think somewhere in the United States, where a care home was totally left off to die. Like, there were no care personnel. There were old people lying in the hallways, and they were dead. They were all they were down. There was no one caring for them. No one, due to that. They just I don't know. I don't get the word today. My English is not at its best currently, but I guess you know what I mean. I hope everybody else does. So yeah, I think that's very modern, and I think that's actually a good take, because what was he supposed to do? He couldn't take those three I don't know, save or data things out of of myself. So
Yeah, I mean, this is a question that maybe one day, maybe not all of us, but a lot of us will face, that a good friend or a family member or whatever asks you to be relieved of whatever he or she is suffering from.
yeah,
And
exactly.
I mean, they brilliantly combined it with the character of Data, saying that he wants to be human, and being mortal is an essential part of being human, and that of course he wants to die at some point, because it can't be immortal if you're a human and stuff like that. It's a very well wrap up for the character of Data in this show.
Yeah, maybe even inspired and also maybe pushed for by Brent Spiner, because he wanted to quit being Data during Nemesis, and they resurrected him again. He said during Nemesis, I'm supposed to be an android that is not aging. Do I look like I am not aging? And now, I mean, Nemesis is what, like over 10 years old or something?
Yep.
So that's an old movie.
And still they managed to cover up his age pretty good. I mean, he doesn't look like the classic Data. He's like fuller face and stuff like that. And still, makeup artists are wizards nowadays.
Yeah, they sure are.
I actually, sorry for interrupting that. And I actually think that there wasn't too much CGI involved in all of that. It was a lot of makeup, maybe some stuff to just like soften up the face, but overall, decent job.
I think so too. Like the hairstyle wasn't totally on point. I don't know, like the what are those called? We call them cotletten. What are those called in English? Sideburns. That's it. Those were a little bit, too lush, a little bit too full. Yeah. But otherwise it was very well done, and I loved the dying sequence. Like seeing what Data would have looked like if he would have aged, and it really went down a lot in the direction of TNG, where we actually saw the older Noonien song. That was amazing. Also interesting, it wasn't quite the son of Sung. It was just another Data type android, but way more human than before.
True.
That's cool. That's a good callback, because last time you were like, oh yeah, cool. They pretty much abracadabraed it out of the hat. So where did that guy come from? Yeah. Well,
now we know.
Yeah. Now they built him. I was happy also. I gotta put in more further synthetics. I was happy that they didn't quite take the golden Soji, let's call it like that, the bad one, that they didn't make her too much into a second lore. Like in the last episode, I really feared for that. Okay, cool. The second Soji that's there now.
But I mean, correct me, but she was like super unnecessary.
Yeah.
She didn't really play a crucial role in the final episode, because Soji herself did all the I build the tower stuff and I destroy the tower stuff, and the beacon. I mean, she was like pretty wasted character. No need to introduce her.
Although I gotta say, the actress herself is already pretty hot. She was weirdly more hot as gold as in long hair. I don't know why. I dug her even more in gold and in that dress and everything. I mean,
usually we agree in that regard, but in this case, I gotta say, no.
No, Mac, I take the human one. I mean, that's a good thing. There are two ones. You take the human one, I take the other one. Although you can.
Go ahead, do as you please.
Also, while you're at the beacon, the weird thing, I could have sworn we see current, up-to-date Delta Quadrant Borg when that beacon portal opened. Yeah. And instead there were weird mechanical tentacle hentai crossover stuff.
Tape worm bullshit. This was like the worst part of the whole show. They open up this port and you were like, what's coming through? What's coming through? And it's like your standard flesh-eating metal worm just screaming, and it was like, it was cheesy as hell.
And there was no explanation. They were like, okay, what can we take? What's those nerds in today? Right, tentacles. We take mechanic tentacles because synthetics.
Because reasons. It's this was like, I mean, they could have done way more. I mean, to me, the best way would have been not to show anything, maybe
or maybe only a silhouette. Maybe a silhouette.
maybe something moving in the shadows or stuff like that. But just like these things popping out like metal spaghetti out of this hole, and then no. And I'm pretty sure that we will never get an explanation to that. Never.
I could see that happening in season 2 because that's already a given. We will see Guinan. Maybe we will get more of an explanation for the El Orient characters.
No,
And also,
I'm pretty sure that Guinan will be more like a 2 or 3 episode special, and that's it. Like Will Riker was, and like Hugh was. I'm pretty sad that they killed off Hugh because I really love this character, and I think they could have done more with him. I mean, I think they had, to me, the whole show felt like they had a metric fuck ton of ideas at the beginning with the abandoned Borg cube and the Borg rehab stuff, and I mean, in the end, the whole Borg thing was relatively unnecessary. To me, it feels like they just used this to set up the 7 of 9 spin-off show, which would be fine with me if it's actually coming, because I think 7 of 9 was one of the best characters in this particular show. But to me, the whole Borg thing, I was like pretty hyped by the idea of this abandoned Borg cube and a new society evolving on that cube and all of that. I remember that we talked about this, what can happen with the Borg in the first season, was one of our main topics in the last time we did this.
Right.
And in the end, like, nothing happened. I mean, they had this super cool sequence where, I don't know, 7 of 9 was like the Borg queen for 5 seconds.
I love that.
And then they just sucked all of the Borg out into space, and that's basically it.
Yeah, I really thought so too. Like when they did this, and also then telling that maybe there's a spin-off show coming, I was like, cool, maybe some residue Borg queen stuff back in her, and there's I don't know, some virus shit coming in or something. So that would have been cool. But I just need to say, if you're watching, and this sounds overly negative, I love the first season, but there were weird decisions. That's just the thing. And I think we're currently like, I don't know, we're piggyback onto the other thing, and we get from negative to weird to negative to weirder. But I loved it. The thing is just like my hope for Star Trek Picard was through the roof. I love that they announced this. I love the return of the character, and I was in many moments I was actually tearing up because I was like, oh, that is so cool. I was so looking forward to that. There were so many dope moments in this, but at the very end, it fell short a slight bit on my expectations. That's probably my fault myself. I know that because I mean, mainly or usually nowadays, stuff doesn't quite live up to the hype.
True.
But I loved it, and the thing I loved about the Borg, now going back to this, is how they actually explained this fluid repairing sequence that we saw in TNG back then. You know what I mean?
Yes.
During Q Who, when the Borg cube was an actual physical thing, and we see all the wires moving and everything is coming back into place.
Yeah, that was nice.
And they explained it with nanoprobes, with big nanoprobes that were moving along and doing everything. And that was very well done. Like at first I was weirded out with the Borg cube, but then I thought, I mean, this is now end of the 24th century. It's supposed to be somewhere modern, and they didn't have the tools back then. They had to build everything themselves. They didn't have the CGI. They needed to modern it up a little bit.
Yes.
But they stayed in the ballpark, you know?
Yeah, I mean, they could have done the whole nano whatever thing earlier. I mean, they had the nanites in TNG, so they could have plugged the idea, but it wasn't necessary back then. And this was a cool opportunity to explain some of the older stuff. And I love it when they take chances like this and just take the ball and run with it. It's cool.
Yeah,
it's cool. I mean, I gotta say, because you said that you loved the first season, I think I like the first season. I wouldn't go too far that I love it, because I mean, I hope that they would get a grip of their pacing,
mm-hmm.
but they didn't really get the hang of it overall. I think they tried to do too much.
Yeah.
And I mean, they only had 10 episodes. Like, how much story can you really explain and tell in 10
That's
episodes?
true. That's true.
Of 50 minutes each, and they had so many ideas, and I can't even recall all of them. And I think a lot of interesting stuff was just dropped over the course of the season, which is a bummer. And some stuff just came super short. His whole brain disease thing was like
Mhm.
in 2 sentences, maybe 3 over the whole thing, and then it's super crucial in the end because he dies and then comes back as a robot and all of that. So I think it's it was too much, and especially now in this last episode, they had the Romulan spaceship army, the Federation spaceship army. The never really explained space flowers. They had the metal tapeworms coming out of a hole. They have this, and even in the end, when everything is said and done, they have this small sequence where they tease some sort of, I don't know, at least a friendship, maybe more between Seven and Ruffy. They're sitting down, just holding hands. There's so much stuff going on. So and the whole Romulan, this whole Romulan agent spy character was completely unnecessary.
Wasted. Like with a kick down the ramp, done.
Yes.
I'm not
talking about her. I'm talking
Okay.
about him. I'm talking about his her
Yeah.
brother. I think they could have done this without the whole I have a relationship with an android thing, and then I betray her, and then I have a super weird relationship to my sister, which was super cringeworthy. So
it sure was. Also with the Romulan Starfleet admiral, like this was also like she at the end she totally abandoned her Starfleet affiliation. There was nothing to it. She was just able to walk out of Starfleet headquarters
take control of the Romulan fleet.
Yeah.
Here I am. I'm back from my spy.
It's really like she's walking out of the office. The one jacket off, the next jacket on. Hey, have a great day off, guys. I'm back on my home world. Like peace out, bitches. That was so weird. And back on the next warbird and off to what was it, Gulian 4, I believe. Yeah. So that was a weird sequence.
This is also a problem that I have with especially late Star Trek stuff, like the later movies and this show, and even not Discovery, not so much. Discovery was pretty good at it, but they have a very hard time giving worlds and planets some sort of character or some sort of relevance. I mean, when you watched back in the day, when you watched Star Trek 2 or 3 or 4, you know what Kronos was. It was the Klingon homeworld. It meant, and then I think in the later movies, wherever they went, they had some sort of alien race, and they all looked like humans. The planets just had some imaginary name plus completely random number. It's just completely exchangeable, and it doesn't appeal to me too much. What I really let's not talk about all the negative stuff. There's a lot of positive in this show.
Yeah.
Some very strong quotes, especially in this last episode. When he's talking to Soji, and she's accusing the humans or the organic life forms that they always decide for the synthetic life forms, and they can never make their own decisions. And Picard says that not making or having the feeling that you cannot decide for yourself is just failure of imagination.
Yeah, that was super. That was a very diplomatic way of saying, well, if you think you cannot choose, then that's kind of your fault. But I mean, that's Picard. That's the diplomat right there. That's.
And there was another very good quote of Data that I just can't remember right now. Pretty much in the end.
I don't quite know. That's a problem with the first. Like I have a lot of impressions in my head, like currently still, but they are mostly visual. So I need to pedal back to that. But there were strong things. There were very strong things. The fun part also was to me like when he was sitting at the desk at the very end and then say, "Okay, so I'm a robot now. Oh yeah, but no superpowers." That was like, it was like, you're not augmented or anything. You just have your base body, and this is pretty much set to standard what you normally would have lived, and you just go ahead. You just play it cool or anything.
Yeah, I mean, it also, I mean, it was kind of nice idea, but in the end, I mean, come on, why? I mean, they really have to. If they play it clever, they will take this whole "I'm an artificial life form now," maybe make a nice little character conflict with his Borg past in the second season. But if they just use this android buddy as a trope to let him be like he was all the time before, like you don't age, you age normally, you have no superpowers, you're just basically the same without the disease. Why was there the disease in the first place?
Yeah, maybe they tried to get it as a tool. Like they needed something crucial to have, I don't know, to have this breaking point, like to have him actually being closer to Data ever before by becoming an actual android, and then again also with the Borg, having it actually cross over with his fear of becoming something artificial without having a choice, and at the same time being more than Data and understanding him more. I don't know if this makes any sense what I just said, but just just combining these aspects of actually wanting to understand Data more and the fear of becoming something artificial.
Yeah,
maybe this.
I mean, the fact that you're having a hard time explaining what you mean shows how complex the whole matter is.
Yeah,
and
it is.
maybe they found a pretty decent way out, but I don't know. To me, that the whole disease thing felt kind of wasted in the end. Like a lot of stuff in the show was like cool ideas that were not necessary and just made the whole show a little confusing at times to follow.
Yeah.
I mean, we both not too bad at English, but still have the language barrier.
Yeah.
And I think what I have a big problem with is, or what I found interesting, maybe it's better to tell it like that. I just watched TNG shortly before.
Me too.
And the whole language and the sound is that much clearer and louder and better to understand. And in this show, like everyone is just
what you mean?
Whispering. We have cool voices all the time. You can't understand a word, but we sound cool.
Hey, fun question. Guess which episode of TNG I just watched? You know it.
I have no idea.
It's not hard. Believe me, when I tell you, you're like, come on. Do I really? You got a shirt of that?
Oh, Darmok and Jalat at Tanagra.
Yeah, that's. You just cherish those things. I also had just the episode with that Admiral Sati, with the
drumhead is the best episode.
That is a great episode, and there was also this question, like they did in TAG, they paddled back a lot to the whole thing with him being Locutus, and she asked him too, Captain, are you okay? Did you actually what did she say? I can't quite remember the quote. How's your condition after being Locutus? Have you gone back to normal and everything? This is something that I wish would have been done a little bit more in Picard too. Like they teased it that he still maybe has some underlying issues with I don't know, being Locutus, but there were only two actual moments where he was addressed as Locutus, and that one moment where he actually broken down. But
I mean, they could have done more with this, but since they dropped the whole Borg storyline, basically, it just dropped this part with it. But I had to laugh because I love this scene where he's like walking at the Borg cube, and there's this ex-Borg just pointing at him like he's a celebrity. Hey, it's Locutus! Selfie or stuff like. By the way, do you want to see a very lazy transformer?
Yeah.
I mean, you can see what this is, right?
Oh, really?
movie
yeah,
jet.
yeah.
Now, the roof is his chest.
No.
I spent like half an hour to fiddle out how this guy's working because I couldn't believe this is right, but I think it is.
Sometimes you just think too complicated, and sometimes it's just is that easy.
Yeah, true.
But since you said it, it's actually a very good point. I have the slight fear that they drop the Borg as a whole.
Yeah, I think
Like
so.
I would have loved we see more Borg, like way more Borg, because actual active Borg, because ever since I believe Voyager, the end of Voyager, we never saw, heard anything of the Borg again.
Yeah, because
Like
Voyager, essentially the show, destroyed the Borg as a threat.
it seems like it.
After Voyager, the Borg were like super irrelevant.
Like they were as they were only scattered, like scattered forces, and not really, I don't know, getting back or rehabilitate themselves from this killing blow. But they are still existent. That is what Picard established. They are still there, and they still work. But like again, why put out this Borg topic? Like get it out of the coffin and put it back on the show, and everybody's like, oh man, I missed the Borg. I want to see more Borg. And then, like you said, the artifact, Romulans wanting to rediscover or reactivate it, and then synthetic life being banned and everything. Then there's this third synthetic party with the synthetic tapeworm. Nice thing. So there were three synthetic parties, and they didn't make pretty much anything of it. They revolved the whole show around Picard and Data and everything. That Picard now in the later years has a lot of brotherly and family love for his TNG crew, but they really failed somewhere. I think again, this all sounds super negative, but maybe we spend more time in our minds explaining this thing and deepen it out than the actual showrunners do. I don't know. There's just stuff where I think they could have gone above and beyond with way more stuff, like maybe even if it's only hints, with Seven, that she's the momentary Borg queen, and there are some, I don't know, some intermediate transmissions in there, so there is Borg activity, but they only showed this one cube and the XPs, and that was it. And now it's essentially all dead, and these Borg sit in their crash cube on Gullion 4 and what? Roast giant space orchids for dinner, or
and what? That's the exact question. The problem is, if you do a Borg show in 2020, you have to take a different approach. You can't just take like, let's do another Borg show, and the Borg are the big threat and the big enemy, and they are like, because nobody believes anymore that they are like unbesiegbar. Help me.
unbeatable force,
invincible, whatever, because they have been beaten and destroyed and damaged all the time in Voyager. Nobody would believe that, and we had all of that. If you do a Borg show, you have to go more into the maybe how do the Borg recover as a species. Maybe they change because they feel that the Borg are all about assimilation and adaptation to the circumstances.
Exactly.
And now they face circumstances they never faced before, so maybe they have to evolve differently. There's a lot of stuff they could do with the Borg. But if you want to tell that story, there's no room for synth ban and Romulan religion and all of that. Not in 10 episodes. I would have been completely fine if they would have just taken this. There's the synthetic life form that somehow spawns from Data, and the whole colony thing I think was fine. And then there is this Romulan mythology about. I mean, I found it very interesting, this whole thing that Romulans don't like synthetic life forms at all. They don't use them. They feel threatened by synthetic life forms. Was never really a topic in TNG, nor in Deep Space Nine.
No,
but
never.
but it sounds logical to me. I think it was a good idea. It was a nice idea, and taking this like synthetic life form on the one side, and there's the known enemy, but with a new facet to it, and then, like letting them clash and all the mythology thing. This would have been way more than enough to tell a decent story, and then have a cool crew. And I think most of the characters I think are very well done in the show.
Yeah.
I mean, you can all the GL stuff aside. I think Raffi is a pretty cool character.
They could have fleshed her out a little bit more, because she was also a little bit abracadabra out of the hat. There was just, okay, there's an associate of Picard. She's living in the desert. She has some drug or alcohol problems. Why? And we see a flashback of her in the uniform, but that's it.
Yeah, I mean, there's a story with her with her son, and they gave her a little bit of background story. And I'm not too hard on Raffi this time, because I think they can make more out of her in the second and third maybe season. So there's potential there.
Yeah.
And Doctor, I don't remember her name actually. Is I think the weakest of them all.
Yeah, she had some character development, but
yeah, but she's like in the beginning.
You think I can remember her name now? I got the scene where he addresses her as he collapsed with his brain thingy, but I have Sati in my head the whole time, but that's not it. That's stop it, brain. That's wrong.
It's the blonde doctor. She in the beginning she was like the super synth nerd doctor, like, oh yeah, synthetic life forms, yeah, this, I'm coming with you, I'm super insecure. And then she switches from that to cold-blooded killer because she has a secret mission from Starfleet. And then she turns back into, I'm a good actor, I can lie to everybody nobody recognizes, I will save you all. And then she starts a relationship with the captain, and it's like all over the place, and none of these character aspects really fit into each other.
The weirdest thing when you look at that character, you need I don't know if you will follow it, but if you want to have the hardest contrast for an actor from one character to the next, she played the role of the dude that plays Stifler, Sean William Scott, in Goon. And Goon, the Last of the Enforcers, where he plays a pretty simple dude that is bad at actual ice hockey, but he can punch the shit out of people. And in the first part, she's the super fan and gets to be his wife, and she's also a little bit more simple, you know? So I just watched the second part, and then I watched Picard, and this is the actress, you know? So one part, super simple, I'm all up into ice hockey, and I want to see you punch shit out of guys, and the next second she's in Picard. Oh, hi, I did androids. That is super weird. That is a weird contrast. But otherwise, I think
it's always hard to watch two shows with the same actors that play completely different characters back to back. It's hard watching The Walking Dead and then watching The Punisher. Like it's
where's the crossover?
What's his name?
Where's the crossover there?
With what's the name of the actor that plays the Punisher?
Thomas Jane.
No, not the movie, the show, the Netflix show.
John Bernthal.
Yes, and he's in The Walking Dead.
True that. I thought Thomas Jane. Wrong.
No, not Thomas Jane. But it's also like then you can watch like The Fog and Punisher back to back. It's also a little weird.
That's also weird. But also a point I have, dude. What the hell is this blue super tool?
Where did that came from? Where did they collect this? I just missed it completely.
I remember they got it, but there's zero backstory. Yeah, you figure it out. He's lying in the last episode below this engine. I need to do this. And it works again. Who came up with this?
It's just another thing that people trying to wrap their heads around. It's like completely unnecessary. It's his goddamn ship. he's like he has holograms of himself like everywhere on board. He's like super,
That I love. That was super cool.
coming to that character in a few moments, and he's like super connected to the ship. Why not just tell the story that he's just lays down and sees a problem and knows how to repair his goddamn ship and doesn't need a fancy super tool. Of course, the fancy super tool later. This is also the fancy super tool helps Picard and the blonde doctor, whose name we don't know.
Hey, sorry for jumping in shortly. I could have sworn they cure Picard of his head thingy with this super tool, like holding it to the back of his neck.
Just imagine that he's healthy, and they create this hologram army of ships that doesn't really matter because it's like over in 20 seconds, and then his ship is like going down anyway.
Yeah,
I mean, he could have proven that he would risk his life for the synth, which is basically what he did in the end and what he tried to prove with this whole maneuver by just taking his ship and flying into the Romulan army and trying to prove to be a distraction as long as possible. Would have been completely enough. But no, they had to do this technical spectacle. And technical spectacle, that's a hashtag.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe you got some housework to do.
Ryan, you live, you learn. But I know where you're at. And pedaling back to the actual thing of the super tool is also weird that it had no sense. The same as with Picard saying, "I give you my life," and then there came nothing of it. The thing is where TNG actually excelled at was almost anything that was ever technical was an actual topic on the show. They always tried to discuss and explain everything. They were super complicated discussions, but they always tried to explain it, and there were terms that you could actually Google and you found out what that was. But
yes,
in parts. That's why I say mostly. One thing that wasn't explained was this traveler. This traveler that was able to augment like the warp console and then let them go super transwarp.
No need to explain that whatsoever. They brought him back later. He takes. I mean, he's our hero. He takes Wesley Crusher out of the show. So it's.
I actually in this run in TNG, I enjoyed Wesley quite a bit. Like I can understand that it's an acquired taste, but you see a metric fuck ton of character development in Wesley Crusher, and that is excellent character development. And
True.
Back then I found him annoying also, but I think his character development and also especially in unison with Picard, I think that was done extremely well.
Yes.
And I don't think he's as annoying as everyone takes him to be.
No, I totally agree on that point.
And I hope Crusher returns. Also, maybe Beverly in season 2. That would be super cool. Gates McFadden still looks pretty good. She still looks pretty good.
What I think is, I mean, I recognize that they really reduced. I mean, like TNG was like technobabble all the time.
All the time.
All the time. It's like whenever. Like 50% of Jodie LaForge's script was like technobabble, and Picard close to zero.
Yeah,
which I think is a good thing. They didn't relate too much on all the technical stuff. In theory,
yeah,
they didn't talk about this all the time. They have just stuff they use, but they don't explain it, and they use it in parts in quite unnecessary ways. Like I said, why have this hyper magical tool to repair a ship, and why not just use his skills as a captain / mechanical / medicine guy, whatever.
That's also my call. Like it was taken. Okay, we have a ragtag band of rogues here, and they work in unison, so they are not as accomplished in everything. We don't need all that technobabble. But I think that was a big part of TNG. And the thing is, this also, I don't know, this kind of flowed over to characters from TNG. Like when we see the last scene of Riker And Picard, by the way, I love seeing Will back in his uniform. That was so cool. That had me like, oh, finally a real callback to TNG. And I like the actual update with the red on top here. That it was kind of carbon-like, but it was the updated design from Deep Space Nine, just a slight bit more modern. That I enjoyed. But the talk between them, in this scene was not quite the usual Will Riker, Jean-Luc Picard discourse. Like, I don't know. It was too friendly and almost a bit too friendly, and not the usual kind they talk. Do you know what I mean? Like with
No.
What did he say? Like you wouldn't expect me to let you go out and have that you keep all the fun, and talking to the Romulans like or I don't know, I will shoot your ass, or what he said. Like they use swear words and stuff they didn't usually use, and I don't think that fits the characters. You know what I mean?
Yes, I mean there was a lot of discussion about swearing and blood on the show in general. I don't oppose that. I wouldn't need that from Riker. It's one of the parts where I said in the beginning that they try too hard to make the show to be cool. That scene was one of them. In general, I think the way these two speak to each other is like they are not captain and commander anymore. They've become friends. And they were like, there's 20 years of history between the last TNG episode and the first Picard episode. So I'm fine that their relationship changed a bit. And they still
of course.
Respect for each other, but on a different level. That's perfectly fine. Perfectly fine with me. I had one point that I wanted to talk about, but I lost it.
That's bad.
Maybe because my cat is meowing into my ear like for half an hour now. Shut the hell up.
I need to tell you, I would have screamed one time, Lily, that's about it, and then she would have gone out, and then she would actually have been quiet. But that's my cat.
Yeah, I'm not screaming because my son is sleeping there and my wife is sleeping there. So I'm not yelling at the cat right now.
People that don't know you could actually think, did he just point at his Transformers and said wife?
RC is standing actually there. So
oh, nice callback to Jobby the Hong. No, but I think there are many positive aspects of the show. Like I think Patrick Stewart did an awesomely well job of taking Picard and putting him into this century actually. Also, I don't know, kind of optimizing his whole way that he, I don't know, developed over the years, to call him like that, like with the acting through the X-Men movies and also his Broadway and theater stuff. So I think that was a very well progression of the character. Also that he got back to his vineyard. A little sad that we didn't get anything of his family and everything. That's also I don't know, is his
there's no family left.
They are all dead. Also his nephew, right?
Yeah, remember Star Trek 7 where they die in the fire and he's like, I'm the last of the Picards. There will be no more Picards. That's what he says. So the family
they died in Star Trek 7. I don't have a vivid memory of Star Trek 7 right now.
You don't see it. It's just like he just gets a message via Spacecom or whatever they call it. And there was a house fire, and his brother and his nephew and his wife are all dead, and he's the last Picard alive.
You know what I can see in season 2 or something like that? That they do some weird paddling bad moment to that, like with Ruffy and him, that they say they love each other, and then that he has now a super fresh body, like for his age and everything, and maybe he can actually reproduce or something. I see something horrible looming.
No.
You never know. In today's age, you never know. I mean, I just read today. Okay, totally top of topic, but I read today that there is a Batman book out there where Harley Quinn and Batman fell in love. So possibilities are endless, and it's not in a good way.
Yeah, but I mean, I mean, I can only guess, but since Patrick Stewart was very vocal about that he would only do Picard if he can do it in the way that he imagines it, and that he wants a different Picard than he was on TNG and all of that, and I think he achieved that.
Yeah.
I think that Patrick Stewart has quite a bit of creative control over that show.
I think
The
so
way
too.
they correct it, so I don't see any weird stuff happening down the road.
I hope so. I really hope so. But that's yeah. There were some weird things, but there were a lot of beautiful moments in that show. The problem is they need to be able to make the show with beautiful moments for the new characters and for new situations, and not have all those nostalgic characters brings you all the warm and fuzzies, you know, like with
Sure.
Will and Picard, and with Deanna. That was like, now here's TNG, you know. But the thing is, we didn't
It's
want
not.
TNG. We wanted Picard, and we wanted something new. That we needed to have a bit of TNG. But to me, like, most of the moments revolved around TNG moments, and maybe a bit too hard.
Absolutely, and I think they had a chance with. I mean, they brought two characters back with Borg background, 7 of 9 and Hugh.
Yeah.
And these two actually had a chance for some forward development. I mean, 7 is completely changed with all
Yeah.
her, with her being like mercenary, rogue, whatever, just like running around and trying to punish everyone who steals Borg implants and all of that stuff. I think that's a great idea. It's just awesome.
Me too.
And Hugh also, like, now being completely humanized and back to his human form or whatever species he actually is. It he was human, right? It was confirmed, I think.
I don't know, but at least humanoid. At least
whatever, doesn't really matter. But he found a new task in like helping other ex-Borg to rehab and all that, and that was like pretty interesting stuff. So they took old characters and gave them a new background and a new reason to be there. And they also did the same in parts with Riker and Troy, with them being like isolated on the planet and having lost their first son. And then but I still don't. It kind of stopped there. They gave them some history, but nothing to look forward to.
No, I know what you mean.
And this is the big difference between Riker and Troy, and 7 and Hugh. And so I enjoyed the hell out of Riker being on this bridge in his uniform,
that was
just
super cool.
and just being Riker, like sitting in his chair, like he always sits in his chair. Gorgeous moment, and I think Jonathan Frakes killed this absolutely. And and I think the others were fine. I think Data was necessary to reprise because of the whole story they and the connection between Picard and Data, which is super close and super important from TNG. And was a very important moment in Nemesis when he lost Data and all of that. So that part I totally get. But I see what you mean, that if the people only take joy out of the moments with the old characters and the new characters don't get their room to shine and to develop and to become favorite characters of their own, that's a problem. And I think the only new character, maybe there were two, one that had potential, but they somehow dropped the ball along the way, and one that I absolutely adore because he was just like a super cool guy, was Captain Rios.
That was the standout guy of the new characters.
Absolutely, the one episode where I thought, who is it? Is it Raffi that talks to all the different holograms of his, and everyone has a different accent? And he's a brilliant voice actor. Brilliant.
Yeah. I love the Scottish dude. The Scottish dude was by far my favorite.
Yeah. And wasn't he like the engineer?
Yeah.
I mean, what a super cool drawback to Scotty.
Yeah.
Like, he's the Scottish engineer. It was like that was beautiful. And actually, one of my favorite scenes in the last episode was my two favorite characters of the show, besides Picard, is in Captain Rios in 7 of 9, sitting at this cliff and just having this conversation
With the super disgusting alcohol.
The screen stuff that they are like pouring down, and they all both have these moments like that they did something that they never wanted to do again. This was a very, very cool moment. And I think the second character that had potential, but somehow I think he just like got lost in the shuffle a bit because there was so much other stuff going on.
Jurati.
Is that the Romulan guy? Like his
No, Jurati is the blonde unknown doctor.
Now we know how now I don't know the name of the Romulan guy, but I mean the Romulan guy.
Narek.
Not Narek. Narek is the spy guy. The spy guy I don't like. No, he's like, I give you my life, assassin, sword, Legolas kind of guy.
Elnor.
Yeah. I think that guy had potential.
Absolutely.
But they gave him no room to breathe at all. He was just like there.
Yeah, he was like, okay, we put in there a Romulan counter Tal Shiar Spock.
Yeah, but some sort of comedy relief, at least in some ways.
Yeah. And at the end, they cut the Spock aspect, and he broke down in tears. So,
which I think was generally a nice moment because he is not Spock and he's Romulan. He's not a Vulcan. He's not super logical. So,
yeah,
I'm okay with that. But I really wish they would have done more with him.
I know what you mean. I hope we see way more in season 2, and I hope especially that we see way more of 7. Like I hope they do a good. I could see that the 7 of 9 spin-off is still a good ways down the line because now she essentially seems to be a main in season 2 because she closed
the crew.
So that's it. So I don't know when this is coming, but I need to go back to the Borg a bit further. What I enjoyed about the XBs and the whole Borg thing is that the Borg went back to full black. Mm-hmm. Like the first Borg ever, the first Borg that they ever shot in TNG were full black bodysuits, black armor plating, black cables everywhere. And then the first Contact Borg, that was the shift in styling, and there were these green components spliced in there and some brownish, and then those alcoves with this lightning thingy for loading it up, and it's all green. And I didn't like that. That was too modernized for me. Like I enjoyed the Borg as being monochrome. The body parts were white or gray, and the cybernetic parts were black. Done. And Picard actually managed to go back to that because all those Borg implant, I don't know, like exchangeable things where they closed up the holes and everything, and also the armor plating they had left. That was plain black. The Borg cube itself was plain black. That I enjoyed the hell out of this because I really didn't like it because the old Borg, they looked the most menacing to me.
I like the first Contact Borg, especially because they made the faces with the pulsing veins and all of that stuff. I think that looked pretty creepy.
That looked cool. Yeah,
and that they showed like the assimilation sequences in First Contact with like these cables into the head, and like and everything just evolving over the face and stuff like that. I think that was pretty visual. That's true. I think what I generally liked about the show is the tone or the vibe. Like it's like more like a little space odyssey, and a little more like it's like riding with the Millennium Falcon, like a crew of pretty mixed up and pretty rough people most of the time. All have their troubled history. There's no hierarchy really.
Yeah.
And there are no uniforms, and there is no chain of command or anything like that. It's just like a bunch of guys going on a space trip. I like that general vibe of that, and I hope they can keep this for the second season in any way. And I think so, since they in the last picture they showed like the crew all assembled at the bridge and just like blowing off into the sunset like they always do at the end of a Star Trek show. That was nice. What I didn't like, by the way, about the ship was the bridge. the bridge with the interfaces and all that stuff was cool, but this like completely hollow, enlightened hallway in the back, and there was like nothing in between, like super lazy set design, and
Yeah,
and completely exchangeable. I
that was
really
very
think they
exchangeable.
should have given the ship more character, because it looks like the ship will be around for quite some time.
It seemed that way. I mean, they showed a little bit more of uniform and showed a little bit more of how the current bridge is actually yoked with Riker's ship. That was a little bit what they showed there, and also what you said about the crew. It's more like respect and all of that. Also, the last shot where they had him go like engage. That's like, okay, there is a little bit of a command structure, but only out of respect. Like, he's the admiral, and he's gonna do engage, but otherwise this is more like, okay, we are now friends now. We have a self-made mission. We just go ourselves, but you are still Picard. You still do engage.
This scene, by the way, I didn't like the whole engage sequence. I didn't like the acting of Patrick Stewart in that scene, because it was like a caricature of himself.
I know what you mean. I know
It was
exactly
more like
what you mean.
it was more it to me, it looked and it sounded like he was doing it as a fan favor at a convention, like, make it so, engage, and he was not like really into it.
Exactly.
The whole line, the whole scene seemed completely out of place.
Like, it was too long. It was engage, and he just holds it and it goes into the screen.
And he never had his arm like stretched out like that. He was just like sitting relaxed in his chair, engage. And that's
or even I also loved the TNG when he was pissed off. A few times he was pissed off during the show. Engage, and then he just waves at it, turns around, goes to Riker, and just making it more, I don't know, like natural, like what he did on TNG. But this, exactly like you said, full convention fan mode. Yeah, here you go, engage. that was weird.
Has everybody taken its photo? Okay, back to normal.
Exactly. That was weird. I give you that. That was really weird. But I don't know, man.
What's funny is I remember the first 2 or 3 episodes. I remember the last 2 or 3, and I can't quite remember what happened in the middle episodes.
I have a similar problem.
It was like a little bit of wasted, and I have the feeling like if you have seen the first 2 episodes and the last 3, you know the essential story, and everything that happens in between is kind of unnecessary and maybe uninteresting in parts.
Almost like they tease this super planet where all the bounty hunters and all these shady business thingy is. I don't remember that planet anymore, but this episode.
Let me guess. Random name, random number.
No, it wasn't. It was. I have something in my head, but I can't quite put it on. But it was the episode where 7 of 9 was reintroduced.
Yeah,
and
I know.
So that was necessary. That was also good, but that was almost the only standout. Together with, and I only talk with new characters and new story bits, and not necessarily old guys or old bits. And the other thing being the Borg cube and 7 actually becoming short of the Borg Queen. So that was super cool. That was super cool, and that was also standout. So those 2 episodes or / moments of episodes that still ring in my head. But otherwise, I'm totally with you. Like the first 2 episodes with what was the sister? Soji was most of the time, and the other
was it Dash?
Dash, right? Soji and Dash, Asha. So that was that, and then also the negative thing with that almost female lore. But otherwise, I gotta say it was strong. It was certainly a stronger season than other stuff. But there's just, it's exactly like you said, so much potential really wasted, and I hope they. I heard Picard tanked on CBS All Access, and that would be a bad call. It's currently tanked as in flopped.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they renewed it for a 2nd season, though this is essentially bound to come. But I also heard that Patrick Stewart is giving it currently away for free. I don't know how. Maybe account ways, and he shared it around. I don't know, but
The second season.
no, the first in full. You can just watch it.
Okay.
So I don't know quite what about that. I need to Google about that and maybe put it into some of my smaller videos as an update. But this is weird, and if that is true, I don't think this is really a good message for stuff beyond season 2. And
Yeah,
if they would need to wrap up season 2 like super fast, like I don't know, like a two soft spaghetti doing pound, that's it. I don't know.
I mean,
That call.
Thinking about it, I think in retrospective, I would have preferred not a complete. Maybe I would have been satisfied. Make just one season of Picard, tell his final adventure,
And closed.
one season closed. Maybe not 10. Let's make 15 episodes so they have more time to breathe, more time to explain stuff, more time to tell a decent story.
Yeah.
And then be good about it.
Maybe even let him die and not that android stuff.
Yeah, why not? I mean, maybe it could be in a different way or anything like this. But I think, yeah, just write him off the show, and that's cool. And we all know what happened with him, like a little bit like the Logan movie.
Oh,
awesome! This is one of the best ways to kill off a character,
and I also like that actors are now actually capable of saying, I'm supposed to not age. I'm supposed to do this and that as my character, and I can't. So I need to be written out of, and I won't do this anymore. I will do it one final time. And if it means I will cut my own paycheck, then I will do that.
Yeah, cue John Delancey.
Cue John Delancey. Exactly.
Q. No, what I mean is, I was looking forward to every single episode of the show. Like I was saying, it's Friday, another episode of Picard.
Yes.
But thinking about it right now, I'm way more ancient about the next season of Discovery than I want to see the next season of Picard.
I'm super looking forward to that. I enjoyed the hell out of Discovery. I love the character development in Discovery, but this is not going to be around Discovery. But I can wait for that. And I want to see 7 of 9 too. And I hope they will. Of course, 7 of 9 is bound to be the nostalgic series for Voyager characters, and also season 2 of Picard is bound to have more TNG characters in it. I'm still looking forward to it. Again, this sounds all way more negative than it's supposed to. But again, there was so many potential things. There was so much potential as a whole in the series, in the 10 episodes that we had, and I don't want to say wasted on the nostalgic characters, but they gave away of it a lot to the nostalgic characters to make sure that people enjoyed it, I believe.
A lot of screen time for that, and they only had 10 episodes. Remember the trashy Transformer that I just showed you?
That's like, do the wobble.
This is like, there's no tension whatsoever. It's like the ball joints are floating in the sockets. It's a mess. Where's my trash? Bye.
How is this supposed to stand or do anything?
And maybe it did in some ancient past.
Yeah, maybe.
I think that's all I have to say about the show.
I think
as of now, I think I will watch it a second time just to get more details and maybe catch some more, maybe a little more Easter eggs or get more hold of the story and all the different parts. But overall, I think it was a good show. I didn't love it, but I like it. I like it a lot. It was a lot of cool moments. Seeing old characters back, I think they have potentially good new characters. They just have to get the time to shine, and I think they used the nostalgic characters mainly in the first season to grab the people's attention, and I hope that they will do the second season with more focus on the new characters. And with that in mind, I'm really looking forward to season 2.
Yeah, Me too. I think that wraps it up quite well. I think I will watch it again a second time. I think binging it. I think this will be fun. Not having. I mean, it was cool to have to wait a week because you watched it old school TV style when it was first aired. So I love that. But
Yep.
having the opportunity to watch it as a whole and be able to. Okay, I don't need the recap. I am fresh on that episode, so I have the better connection. Um, this will be cool, and also, like you said, more Easter eggs, maybe more connections to TNG, where you say, "Oh, that is in there. That is nice. Okay, more connection. That would be cool, I guess." But the whole final Easter egg I saw at the end, I thought you would say it when you talked about Rafi and Seven sharing that little bit of a tender moment. Did you see what they were playing while they were drinking and holding hands?
No.
They were playing Calto.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
So nice little callback to Tuvok, and also his little brain problem. So a little bit of a one whiny, one cheering eye moment, maybe a little bit.
Possible.
So I think that's a good call. But for me, that's also it. I would say so. So yeah, I guess for today, I would say that's a wrap, right?
Absolutely.
So I enjoyed it. I would even say I would say I went short of loving it. I love the characters with the TNG guys. I think I put the emphasis on that enough. But I enjoyed it. I loved having Jean-Luc Picard back, and it makes you cherish TNG a lot more, and you see a lot more connections in there. That there's a way more, I don't know, emphasized stuff that works in unison. Maybe we see also some Klingon stuff. Maybe they are able to connect it with Discovery in some way or another. That would be interesting somewhere, maybe.
I
Because
don't see it, but who knows?
But because those Klingons were way more stylized than the Klingons from the first Star Trek series, and then TNG. Like every few years they change up the Klingons, and I would say they need to get the grip of themselves. Like always changing it up. Like keep the style, man. Like in the first Star Trek, they were just more brown humans with a little bit different uniform. In TNG, they had this big crest on the forehead, and in Discovery, they were pre Star Trek, the original series, and they were even more pronounced with the crest and with the whole skeletal structure. So
they completely explained it, I think, in DS9 when they traveled back to the Tribble episode, and somebody. You know the episode where they have this method, which and I think it's O'Brien that asks Worf, "This is a Klingon?" And Worf is just like, "We don't talk about it." And that's it.
Really, I don't remember that.
This is absolute. Worf is comedy gold. This guy is absolutely awesome. But I think that's a topic for a different show. I really would love to. Maybe we can repeat this for the next season of Discovery. I think this is a nice little setup. And it's always cool, and I never did this before, like instantly sharing thoughts, especially in a Star Trek show.
Yeah.
And I really enjoyed this a lot.
Yeah, me too. I guess so too. So we will continue this on Discovery, and for sure on season 2 on Picard. But for now, it's a little late. I hope you enjoy your evening, guys. Thanks for hanging out with me, dude. Always a good time.
My pleasure. I'm at home. You too. Stay at home.
You too at YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
So nice evening, everybody. See you soon on the next review. Sunday, Doom Eternal Collector's Edition, like in full. And yeah, enjoy your weekend, guys. Thanks for watching. See you next time.
Take care.
Bye.